Hey everybody, Tim here from Rat Daddy Studios, just checking in, give you a little updates on what I've got going on. Uh, this wasn't a great week for me in models. I don't know what happened, but I screwed up a lot of stuff this week, and I'll tell you what I did. One thing I did, I've been working on I have a Hasselwega 67 Volkswagen pickup truck that I'm working on, and I had it in base coat, so I decided I wanted to do kind of a Rasta paint job on it. I was going to do the green, yellow, red kind of fade, and did the candy apple red. I started at the bottom, was going to work my way up, did the candy red across the bottom, came out great. Decided to shoot a second color that night. It was late in the evening the other night, and so I mixed up some candy lime gold. And apparently I reduced it too much, and so when I sprayed it, I had pretty even coats going on, and went back to do another last coat, and just all of a sudden the whole thing just sagged and ran into the red. And I think I just got carried away with the reducer. So that has now sat for a couple days, and probably gonna do a little sanding on that this weekend. So I'm gonna have to sand everything down and go back to square one, try to get it back in the Orion Silver base coat. So that was one thing I killed. The other thing that I've managed to kill multiple times is the Stingaree. You guys, I was working on this, and I kind of backed away from working on it the last week or so out of frustration. So, I mean, it's coming along. The body was great, but here's where I ran into troubles. First thing was with the front end. So I was fitting up the front tires and rims, and when you get old like me, you don't always focus on the instructions. And I'm looking at the little pins and the spindles on the axle. I thought, God, these are really long. Why did they make these so long? That's going to make this really weak. So, of course, I cut them off and got them to the correct width where the front tires would slide on there, and then glued them in place, of course, with CA glue. Because you guys, a lot of you know me, I am a CA glue guy. And then went back and just was going through some parts and realized that there were supposed to be front spindles put on here that held the front connecting rod on. So that was the first thing I did wrong, not looking at the instructions or refreshing myself with the instructions. So, and once those were glued on with CA, those were no coming off. So it wasn't the end of the world. But now we'll move back to the rear, and I'm going to blame the ancient instruction sheets on this one. So this thing has these rear shocks, and on the instruction sheet, it shows these going into this hole at the back of the chassis. And there's actually a second hole here. There's one a little closer in, and then there's this back hole. Now, this thing comes with a hinge to hinge this body on, although there is no hinge shown at all in the instructions. And, I'd been eyeballing it, and I wasn't sure the hinge was going to work, but it is notched out here on the top of the chassis to accept the hinge as it swings up. And I knew that, but I still looked at where the shocks were supposed to go, and I thought, well, that says they go in the rear hole, so I'm going to glue them in the rear hole. So I cleaned that all up. And again, used Zap CA and glued those in place. So they're not going anywhere. And then I realized when I got I had this down in my lab. I didn't have the body with me. I just had the chassis. And then I realized when I got home and saw that hinge that there was no way that hinge was going to fit in the front hole and adapt to this body. And of course, I can't get them off because when you use Zap-A-Gap, they're there. They're not going anywhere. And the third thing I did to screw up was, again, did not have the body with me. Was going by the instructions on the location of these funky struts that hold the front axle in place. So I glued them in place. Came home to put the body on and realized the body was jacked up in the air. There was no way it was going to go on in the location they were in. And once again, used Zap-A-Gap to put them on. So they were literally fused to the axle. So couldn't get those off. I tried wiggling them, just hoping I could just break them loose. And because CA can be, rigid sometimes and brittle and come loose. But in this case, it fused itself to the rims. So I had to get in here and sand the whole insides of these things. And if you look at this, I mean, I thinned these things out like a piece of paper. And I mean, you can see where they're thicker back here, and then they come in very, very thin. And I just have to keep grinding and grinding and grinding until this body would actually go down in here the way it's supposed to. Now the body will sit on this support to keep it, sits on right there, but now there's no way to hinge the body. The body's going to have to sit on there. I did get the front end down at a decent ride height. It probably could have gone a little lower, but it's down there, and I was so frustrated I just dead stopped on it. And I guess it doesn't look bad as it sits now. But that was just so frustrating to me. So I went on, I broke it back out last night and put these goofy headers on there, which these are individual pipes. They're fun to get on and get them straight. They're not perfect. And really the only way to get them on there is, again, using CA. I had just first I knocked that loose, had kind of wetted that a little bit with, I knocked that really loose. Yeah, I did. With a little CA, and then I glued them all in place. So they're pretty straight, and I put the seat in. So now it's time, I got to do some little detail painting and stuff on the shifter and a few other things, and I can go ahead and start adding the rest of the parts. There's a roll bar, and of course the steering wheel and everything's got to go in there, and the steering rod has got to go in there. So that's that. I'm back to it. It's close to being done. I was going to do graphics on this body, but I still haven't come up with what I'm going to do yet, so I don't want to take a chance of ruining something else, so I'm letting that go for now. So anyway, that's that, and I finished the GTR. It's done. It's okay. I mean, I really don't like it. I still got to do the little turn signals up here and a little bit of touch up, but I don't know. This just isn't my thing. I think I'll probably end up giving this to my son because he's really into the whole tuner car thing and this kind of stuff. I mean, I like the look of it with the wide body kit. I like the rear end of it because it has a very Mustang look to it. I'm going to paint my exhaust tips too there. I'm going to put some black on the tips of those where they look like they're used. And I still got to put some tags on it and probably a few little decals it comes with. It's okay overall. I mean, I'm not especially happy with it. I wish I had not thrown the flake in the clear when I did it. I threw some purple metal flake in there, and it'll probably look pretty cool in the sun. I'll take it out in the sun and shoot some pictures of it to put on the website. I love the chameleon paint, the chameleon purple. That part I do like. It's kind of cool, and you can see it as I move the camera around. It will change colors and turn from pearl to purple. So I like that part of it, but I just kind of wish I hadn't thrown the flake because it's still got, after 5 coats of clear, it's got a little bit of texture to it. Some of that flake is still standing up, and there's just, I don't want to put any more clear on it or sand on it. So that's that. I mean, it's got pretty nice detail. It's basically a slammer. The chassis is detailed to look like it has an engine, even though it doesn't. But it's okay for something different. I wanted to try something different. So I guess, if you want something basic, simple kit to work on, and you like these kind of cars, then go for it. It's right-hand drive, kind of Fast and Furious kind of thing. So anyway, so that's done. Working on this guy. This is a resin bust from Andy Cope, and just working on some detail paint. Just painted the eyes today. I've been painting all these little stitch lines in here, the blood in there and stuff. So he still needs a lot of work, but he's coming along. And next to him is the starts of the little hot dogger. So I've got some of the motor built on that, and the chassis that's done in House of Colors Candy Apple Red. I love these tires. I think this is funny. Greyhound grippers. I think that's pretty cool. And the rims are cool too. They're really nice rims. So that's started. That's coming along. I still, everything else is in base coat that goes to that, so it's got a ways to go. I don't know if I showed you guys this thing or not. It's an eBay find. It is a rat fink that is half of a full body on one side and a skeletal body on the other side. And these aren't expensive, but I think it's kind of cool if you're a rat fink guy like me. Something cool to add to your collection. I've seen illustrations like this over the years, but I thought this was pretty neat. And he's pretty good size too. You can see he's pretty good size. So I picked him up a few weeks ago. And I'm still continuing to work on the Von Franco project. I think I told you guys I'm working on this for my buddy Von Franco. And Chuck Darnell built the car for this. And really nice. He did nice candy purple paint on here. I mean, this thing is really nice and glassy. And I'm working on the figure. So right now, I haven't got the other hand on there, but I'm working on painted his clothes today. And got some white on his teeth and his eyeballs. And I got to go spray this with some flat clear and a little bit to seal all this hand painted stuff in. That's all Auto Air, Createx Auto Air, the water-based stuff. And then I will probably this weekend, I will hand draw out all the flames on his helmet. And then I will go back by hand and brush everything by hand around the flames. So I won't be taping that off and airbrushing it. I'll be hand painting that. So basically this fade of color from here back will be the colors in the flames. You'll have some green, some yellow, some orange, and there's actually red back here too, fluorescent red. And I'll run the flames all the way back the helmet, and I will go in and hand paint probably in black around that, so the whole helmet will be black. I'll do his hair's got to be done. Probably I did kind of a ruddy brown or kind of red on the hair. And of course everything else has got to be detailed. The other hand's got to go in, and I'll probably go back with the airbrush and do some highlights on his jeans to make them look like they've got fades on them. And the same I usually will take and do a little bit of airbrush highlights on the t-shirts as well, either in gray or white, just to give it some depth. And then I think I'm going to paint something on the back of his shirt, maybe like a flying eyeball for Franco. Do that, or maybe Franco's logo that he does that with his signature that does have a flying eyeball on it. So I may do that. So that's coming along. Other than that, I think that's about it for now. Of course, I got multiple other things in the works, but those are the things I'm kind of focusing on right now. And still got my 70 AMX project. I may throw some paint on the chassis and stuff on that this weekend, because it's close to being able to put together. The motor's done, the body's done, the interior's pretty much done, so I can probably throw that together. That's a 1/20th scale kit from MPC. I really like it. The paint came out good, so I'd like to get that one together. It's I converted that into a Pro Street, and my buddy Jim 3D printed all the tires and rims for it, so it's an unusual project because of the scale, but I want to get that one finished up too. But anyway, that's what's going on right now. And what else happened this week? Anything? What else? Let's see. I did get a Beetle bus in the transparent lime metal flake. I picked one of those up about 2 weeks ago. It was an eBay find, and then this week I picked up a Royal Rail kit that's one of 300. I actually didn't know it existed. Chuck had bought one, and I saw it, and it's actually in a transparent glow-in-the-dark plastic, which is kind of cool. And 300 is not very many for a limited edition. I mean, usually it's limited edition. There's 5,000 of them still, if you're lucky. And I mean, that's okay for limited edition, but 300 is actually not very many. And I found one right away, very affordable on eBay. So I was stoked to get that and just something else different to throw in the collection. And I've been doing a little bit of work on the Infinity dragster. I've got the motor painted, the chassis about half done as far as the paint. I've got the body and base coat. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do on the paint job on that one yet. So got a lot of things in the works. So you'll see some more progress probably out of me here in the next few weeks. Weather's been up and down here. I had terrible weather last weekend, lots of rain and cold and windy, so I really couldn't do a whole lot with painting. And so that's why I jumped at the chance. It warmed up a little bit the other night, so I jumped at the chance to get out there and paint. And of course, as I told you, screwed up that Volkswagen, which really upset me. But yeah, it is what it is. I haven't ruined anything like that in a long time, so I guess I was due. So anyway, that's it for now. I will touch base with you again probably next week, or maybe I'll shoot another video this week, and we'll see how things go. But in the meantime, I hope everybody's building. Thanks for tuning in. I think I'm up to 645 subscribers. I really appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed. I appreciate the nice comments, and I've gotten some nice emails, and makes me feel good. It feels like what I'm doing is maybe helping you guys a little bit, and I'll drag some more historical stuff out too, I promise. Everybody really seemed to enjoy that stuff, so I got a lot of stuff I can dig through, so I'll root some more stuff out. I do have some of those magazines from the Master Modelers Club that I'll get out sometime in the next few weeks, and we'll kind of go over those. One of the guys was saying how much he remembered Delmo Kitsap from those Get It Together magazines. That was a story in there about a guy that had a machine that would turn models into one-to-one working vehicles. And I never got it as a kid, and he just told me that Delmo Kitsap is an anagram for plastic model. So the Kitsap is plastic spelled backwards, but with a K instead of a C, and then Delmo is just rearranged a little bit from model. So I honest to God, I never made the connection in 50 years. I never made the connection. So now I know. So I thought that was really cool to figure that out. So anyway, so I'll see you guys soon, and stay tuned in, keep building, and have a good weekend. Thanks again for coming by.